How's it going, everyone? Long time no post. Going to fix that. Have been extremely busy. And yeah, we'll just jump straight in. 10-20 heads up. We just started playing. Hoping the table does not fill. I would really like to play heads up today. I'm going to start with a range check. I think check to check call. Not enough to check raise. Obviously, check folding is never a thing here. And turn is interesting. Still gonna check, obviously. Depending on his sizing. So if we're calling here, we're blasting all board pairs. We're probably good on hearts. I think this is actually getting close to bottom of range. And we block. I think block works okay. I think he can still have some weak hearts here that he chose to put in his check back line. That could check back, but would call a bet. And given we have a 20% ante in play, I'm going to be V-pipping slightly higher. Flop, I like check to check call. I think we want to put a little bit better Queen X in our check raise range. And this still allows me to keep my range wide, which allows him to both bluff a little bit more aggressively, as well as bluff catch us on rivers. And river's interesting. I think I like check to check raise. If we bet river here, we're probably getting called. And we do have plenty of showdown value, I think. Mr. Monopoly. Play Money Poppy. Gonna 3-bet single ace ace. And not a very heavy c-bet on this board, given we lack, well, we don't lack, but we don't have as many 2s, 3s, 4, 5, and 8s. We're going to have a lot more high rundowns, Broadway type combos. I almost wonder if we can check raise this. So, we check raise, we can basically stack off on almost any turn. We are going to have plenty of plenty of equity, as well as reasonable fold equity. Coffee's still kicking in, so it might take me a little bit to gather my thoughts. And it's an interesting turn, so he can't have some king 8. I think we do want to stack off here. Again, we have fold equity. We can get 8-2 and 8-3 to fold, and a few times he has king 8, we still have equity. Not entirely sure about the check raise, though. Interesting flop. I'm going to start turning this into a semi-bluff. This is a pretty tough board to continue on. Could maybe see us mixing here, to be honest. We do benefit from seeing turns. We also benefit from immediate folds. And once he check calls, he's basically saying I have a weak ace. Do we try to barrel a weak ace off? I don't think so. He still does have enough random 4x in his range. And versus min bet, he's gonna basically have some ace jack, ace queen type combos, a little bit of ace deuce. So I'm gonna go for a little bit of value. And we do get punished. I don't really expect him to take this line with non-boats. I think certain players can turn some 4x into a bluff there, but I think it's not very common. And get a check pre-flop on the last one. I feel like it's a fold, but I easily could be wrong. On this flop, I actually like check call versus check raise. Turns are going to shift equities pretty heavily. We block fives that we get value from. We block king 10. We have a lot of deception as well on turn board pairs. And a lot of our calling range is going to be straights and flushes. So we are going to get to realize a little bit more equity on this turn, given our range is pretty strong. And just check him up. We just don't have enough to do anything with. Not an amazing run out. And he should have a very high C bet on this flop. Alas, he checks. I like check back. We don't have three straights. We benefit from seeing turns. Don't really want to start narrowing his range to 10 jack and sets. And if he kills his time bank, I'm actually considering using some of mine just to be a good sport. And easy call. I want to keep his bluffs in. We can occasionally isolate ourselves versus king queen. Very unlikely, but still not impossible. And versus small size, we're going to raise. Versus big size, we're going to call, I think. My range is going to have a lot of hearts. It's going to have some of my weakest 10 jacks, some of my weakest king X. Typically in single raise pots, I don't have a leading range. In limped pots, however, I do. That being said, I think this plays better as a check call. Very tough to barrel, and I'm going to take advantage of this. It's very rare in any player open limps an ace on the button. So I think we do have very reasonable fold equity. And And I'm running on a little less sleep than I'd like, so hopefully I'm able to articulate my thoughts enough. Bottom pair open ender, heart blocker, I think check works okay. Quite often, in spots like this, when we have a pair and we can make the nuts on the turn, solver likes to take a passive line. A little bit too much equity to get raised off, but not really enough equity to push. And a range C bet for 50% on this board. So typically on two Broadway card flops, we have a range C bet. It's just doing way too well for our range, and we're going to be about flipping here, but we actually can push some equity as well versus King X, King 10 Jack without clubs. Not really a fan of this, to be honest. I think it's a little bit of an overplay. And top pair blocking 5-6. Easy decision now. We just have a call. Raising here is just wasting blockers and equity. Turn is going to favor us a little more as far as ace jack and aces. He shouldn't really be donking 5-2 that often here. With the double flush draw, I don't think we get to fold, even though both are non-nutted. And river's interesting, so we don't get called by 5-2 fours or threes anymore. We don't get called by ace jack. King queen is going to be a very minimal part of his range. I actually might check this back, given it's very easy to run into better and very tough to get paid by worse. Definitely, at least I don't think we need to value bet all of our value bet all of our flushes there. So he decides to combo draw. Okay. Nice hand. I like check to check call. We really don't like raising wraps here on two-tone boards. And given we lack polarity, I like checking turn as well. He's going to have more tens. We are going to do a little bit better on fours, 4, 3, and 3s. And always want to be mindful of timing. River would have been interesting. So I think this player is actually under bluffing rivers. So probably going to give a little bit more credit on rivers and bluff catch a little bit less. And limp raise, obviously this is very good for the hand in range. I think we're just going to start with half pot. I honestly don't even know if I would check top of range out of position there. I feel like this might be the only guy in history that doesn't flip the Monopoly board. He just seems like that guy. Very chill. Definitely gonna adopt the limping range given we have an ante in play. He is under 3-betting. Honestly, because he's under 3-betting, I might start raising pure until we get pushed back out. Top pair backdoor clubs, gutter. Don't mind check back. I think it's just enough to check back. And versus probe, we're just gonna call. Still have a ton of overpairs in our range, as well as king jack, queen jack. And versus check, I'm gonna try to get some value from his king jack, kings, and weak ace x. Gonna check call flop here, backdoor spades, especially versus a third 4-1. Turn is interesting. So he hasn't been double barreling, so he is far more likely to be betting for value versus a bluff by turn. And we basically could be drawing to 2 outs. We actually could even be dead. Very unlikely to quads, but we could realistically have 2 outs, so I think easy fold. Three-ball the double aces. And do we ever just call here? The thing is, again, we could push equity versus like jack 8-9 of clubs, king jack with clubs. Those players definitely oversee betting pair boards. On this turn, I think we're stacking enough blockers. We really don't want to check call, and I think we don't have enough to check raise. And on rivers, we're probably going to check on a deuce, check on a jack, barrel a diamond. Bottom two spades. Excuse me, bottom two. Top and bottom. Definitely raising. The question is, do we ever go non-pot? I don't think so. I don't really care to keep bluffs in this line. Top pair nut spades, gutter, I like c-bet. I'm gonna start constructing a nut flush value range as well as a set range. Turn is interesting. I actually hope he blocks here. So it's very easy to lose to a 6-high straight here. I don't think he folds flushes. I feel like this is getting very close between turn into a bluff and check back. It is going to be annoying to lose to 5-4-6 here. I'm honestly not sure. Top and bottom backdoor hearts, I think makes a good check call versus c-bet. And on turn, I think the bottom of our calling range as far as non-straights, probably going to be king-queen. And I think I'm going to check raise. At least I say that in my mind. He isn't going too crazy. So honestly, it could just be a straight check fold on the river. I think versus some players, we don't need to go crazy with blockers. Some just have it more than others. And wrap no pair. Definitely see mixing here. Sure. Turn, I think we want to start betting. He has been a little bit passive. And we do unblock 7-8. So theory often has us potting here. The problem, and this is a big thing, at least this is my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is how I view things. I think theory is so far off from population that I think a lot of times when we have a potting range for pure value, players they're not calling enough. So even though in theory we do have a very healthy potting range on a number of textures, or excuse me, a number of rivers, for me it's all about how can I realistically make the most money and how can I realistically get paid. And I just don't think we do enough with pot there. Interesting. It's basically saying he has king 10, some king queen, a little bit of force. Force is definitely in there. I don't think I want to turn this into a bluff, and I actually don't. I don't see him bluffing like that. Honestly, I don't even really see him seeing him. Wow, I cannot talk today. I don't really see him playing ace queen that way, but I do see him playing king x and fours that way often. Interesting flop. So in a check-check line, how often can we continue? I would argue enough. However, we get check raised. And this player has a non-existent check raise range. I don't know, maybe this is a flop check back. I'm honestly not sure. It does kind of suck folding this to a check raise, to be honest. Very high C bet. Not even just from our hand, but our range. And now we want him to continue while we can get stacks in. '27's fine. Should still get calls here by most of his range. That is a very good river. Very good river. His king high flush just went up in value. Very, very good river for us betting. Mr. Monopoly. King Queen 7-6 double pure. Don't mind 3-bet. And we're going to be, I think, semi-neutral on 10s. We do have some blocking effects, and obviously we can't check call. And on the turn, we're pretty much just going to give this one up. Not really the barrel candidate, in my opinion. Seven, 6, 5, 3, 3. Yeah, he's definitely under 3-betting. So a typical 3-bet frequency heads up is going to be about 18% here. He's around 15. And we are getting some folds as well, so King Queen 5-4-3 versus a limping range. A little bit of board coverage on the bottom. And don't really flop much, if anything. Just going to check, give this one up. And versus check, he's going to bet his sets and 2-pair combos. We can deny equity to straight draws and flush draws. And I don't expect too many slow plays in his check back range. And on the river, actually going to go for a trap here. I feel like once we bet, we're either getting snap folds or snap calls, and I think it's more likely we're getting snap folds. Very good card for him to take advantage of as well. And I think we just want to polarize. Try to get him to bluff catch us with ace 5-5. So again, he should be range C betting here. Because he's not range C betting these boards, we have pretty easy folds versus C bets, I think. Need to fix this stat to where it's more accurately representative of the texture. Versus check, I think he's going to barrel his 4. He's probably going to barrel his jacks. We block aces. He can 3-bet non-kings. I think by betting, we get a little bit of value from worse. Ace, jack, hearts. We deny equity to some of his random draws. I would definitely rather check back king, king than ace, queen, queen. Probably not a huge difference, but start turning this into a semi-bluff. Trip 5s. We definitely could put some of these trips in our check back range. Again, I'm sure solver's probably not doing it as much. And versus this player, I actually don't like it as much. I don't think they're aggressive enough on future streets to justify, but I think they definitely can call us for at least 2 streets with a queen. Definitely some players I would take a more passive line to try to get more money that way. Versus pot, we just have a call here. Interesting run out. So I don't really expect him to turn straights or kings into a bluff. He is going to barrel some ace king with spades. Going to check back straights. Again, check back 2 pair. This player does not turn enough into a bluff. So even for that price, I'm okay folding. Blocking 5-6 isn't amazing as well. And I think he's going to use a larger sizing with just the nut flush blocker. But once he starts blocking a ton of my bluff catches, he can size down with the nuts. I don't think I like lead, given turns are going to be a little bit dicey. Anything 6 to queen, we have to basically check. And I still think I'm a fan of check calling at this SPR. Once we check raise, same concept as once we lead. Turns are going to be pretty dicey. We also under-rep our range, which can benefit us on some turns and rivers. And just an easy call here. And very close between block and check here, I think. Checking does allow him to turn some Jack 9 into a bluff. Jack 9-8. Let's see if he raises versus block. We definitely made more money than if we just potted river. So if we pot river, he's always just calling. And we make less. We also remove his bluffs. If we block, we can get some value from a straight that would check back. And also he can raise some votes for value. So I actually think, in hindsight, block might work a little bit better. I think we might make a little bit more money that way. On the flip side, once we block 3-bet, our range is extremely strong, so probably and start with a range check to check raise. Very deceptive river. I think I'm going to try to let him turn some Jack X into a bluff. Again, could block there. I don't like pot. I don't think. Thing is, I have so many missed draws there that I feel like he should attack that river pretty aggressively. And 3-bet, he is going to check on this board a lot, even 2-tone. We're just going to hit it harder. Going to start attacking with 6s. And he is going to have some kings with hearts in range. Again, there's definitely some players that would take a more aggressive line with 6s here. I feel like, yeah, ace-4. I feel like his check call range is stronger than others. Hey everyone, Tilty Fish here. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content and would like more, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.